It's possible that the Lakers not only fumbled Zach Lavine, but may have fumbled their chance at actually competing for a championship. It's not looking good, Laker family. Let's talk about it. If you guys can do me a huge favor and drop a like on the video, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future Lakers and other sports content. So if you're like me, you're pretty religious about watching Lakers games. So I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, saw that display against the Spurs. The reason that game actually inspired this video, because we're going to talk about a few things. You saw the title, you saw the thumbnail, and the first thing I want to talk about is, of course, Zach Lavine. Now, first and foremost, I want to call you guys out. I'm going to call you guys out because I've been making videos on the Lakers acquiring Zach Lavine all the way back in the summer, even before then, actually. And y'all were trying to cook me for doing that. I read the comments. Don't I read the comments, man. I'll respond to a lot of them too, most of them. Oh, you're stupid. You don't know ball. I've had a lot of people, delete your channel. Zach Lavine is trash. He's washed. He's not going to help us win a championship. Not even close. Yada, 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 yada. And all I can say is, man, look at what he's doing. The Bulls are not a very good team. So don't even try to say like, oh, well, they're not winning a lot of games. They're actually not doing that bad. But in terms of his production, look at what he's been able to do with the Bulls. And think about what that production could have looked like on the Lakers. Just a reminder, on the season so far, he's averaging 24 points, 4.8 rebounds, 4.4 assists on 51.7% shooting, 45% from three. In the last 10 games, 29.6 points per game, 5.7 rebounds, 46.7% from three, and 55% from the field. And since the new year, 2025, 6 consecutive games of 30 plus points. Dog, this is a scenario where I told you so just doesn't cut it. It doesn't do it because I'm actually pissed. I don't want to overstep this, right? I don't want to overreact on this because at the end of the day, we did get DFS, and I do think DFS is a really good player, and I think he could be a good fit. And I think he could contribute to a team that wants to be a championship contender. His tenacity, his defense, his ruggedness, he's tough, and he's knocking down the three ball. I like DFS a lot. But when you're talking about a true ceiling raiser, you're talking about talent and ability to just elevate a team. Zach Lavine was the guy, and that was the vision that I had before we traded D'Lo for DFS. I wanted to use D'Lo's contract to trade for Zach Lavine. If I'm not mistaken, D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, and Gabe Vincent, those 3 contracts combined would have been perfect for the Zach Lavine trade. But obviously that didn't happen. And look where we are now. Think about, you know what else is frustrating? Think about the position that Rob Pelinka is in. The whole point of essentially playing the waiting game, right? And basically trying to maximize the time before the trade deadline is to give Rob Pelinka enough evidence to determine whether or not we're actually a few pieces away from competing for a championship. At the foundation, we have what it takes to compete. We just need a few more pieces here and there. And then we turn around and lose to the San Antonio Spurs after a break, mind you. So we got plenty of rest. We lose to the San Antonio Spurs by 24 points. Now, granted, I'm not saying the Spurs are a bad team. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is, for a team that has potential championship aspirations, they want to reach that next level, this is a team that we are more than qualified to beat. And we couldn't get it done. So again, put yourself in Rob Pelinka's shoes. Your job is to manage the roster and to manage the assets. So if you're going to come to Rob Pelinka and say, listen, we have what it takes to compete, man. You can't be afraid to use those picks. Use those picks, get us the assets that we need, so that way we can compete for a championship. Rob Pelinka's like, okay, prove it. Again, it is his job to protect those assets, or at least try to maximize those assets, not just for now, but for the future. But yet, you can't beat the Spurs after, what was it, like almost a week layoff? Plenty of rest. Got some practice sessions in. And granted, yes, I understand what's happening in LA. That is no joke. I'm not trying to make light of the situation at all. I'm really not. You guys saw my last video. I gave a huge shout out to everyone that's going through the wildfires in LA. I mean, that's a tragedy. But that being said, they suited up against the Spurs and they played against the Spurs. So we have to hold them accountable as if they were suited up and did play the Spurs. At the end of the day, they lost that game. Bad. It was a bad loss. We were up most of the game, had a pretty good first half, and what happened? Same thing that always happens. Come third quarter, we falter. And in the fourth quarter, we got smacked. And so basically what you're doing is you're taking the pressure off Rob Pelinka to make moves now. Because you're not showing that you can win now, or that you're just a few pieces from winning now. And that sucks. It really does, because on one night, they can beat any team in the league. Boston, Cleveland. On one night, that's how good that we look. And on the next night, we lose to the Spurs by 24 points. So listen, man, they're not making it easy on Rob Pelinka. Rob Pelinka, I am the last person to give Pelinka as much grace, because I would say, particularly over the past 2 years, he has mishandled these off seasons and these trade markets. But right now, where we're sitting right now, how can you blame him? If he's becoming hesitant on making a move now, how can you possibly blame him? After that, I'm not going to try to curse. After that pathetic performance that we saw against the Spurs. Seriously, I don't know, man. This is tough. We're in a bad situation. I understand we just came off a loss, but looking at what we could have had, also the opportunity cost of gaining someone like DFS and knowing that we could have had someone like Zach Lavine. Oh, what's even worse, I didn't even talk about it, but what's really worse is that we could have had these deals done in the summer. Yo, do you understand that the trade value for Zach Lavine and a player like Walker Kessler were so low over the summer, and we couldn't even take advantage of that? Think about that opportunity cost. And then the season started. Walker Kessler started playing better. Zach Lavine started playing better. Now their market value is increasing, and it's becoming more difficult to get these trades done when we could have had both players back in the summer. The Bulls would have gave up Zach Lavine's contract for damn near anything. You guys remember that? I'm not crazy. They just wanted to get off Zach Lavine's contract so they can focus on rebuilding. But now it's a little bit different. The Utah Jazz, they were willing to throw Walker Kessler away, basically, for a first-round pick. Look, man, you guys know me. I'm usually pretty level-headed, but this is a point of time where I'm frustrated because we waited quite some time to watch Lakers basketball, and then that's the performance that they gave on Michael Cooper's retirement night of all times. Of all nights, look, man, I can go on about this all day. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Do you guys understand what I'm saying regarding, where I was coming from? First of all, initially with Zach Lavine, but then also how we could have got two key players over the summer in Walker Kessler and Zach Lavine, and then look where we are now, where we could desperately use someone's talents like Zach Lavine that can score, generate his own shot, doesn't need a set offense. Just give him the ball and let him go. He could have been our closer. We don't have to rely on a 40-year-old LeBron James to close games every time. AD's kind of been up and down. You can see he's starting to lose his enthusiasm. Like, yeah, he has good games, but you can just tell that, man, I missed that 2020 AD, man. 2020 AD was a dog. I don't know, man. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Again, like the video, man, and subscribe. I always appreciate y'all watching. I love you guys. Thank you so much for the support. I apologize for the vent session, but I think a lot of y'all feel where I'm coming from. But again, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next video.